this is our furniture plan, and the goal is to do this furniture plan. You can see everything is on that crazy angle that we have set up. So we have systems furniture here in the middle, and we've got case goods in the offices. Okay. I also have a handout here where I just printed this out, and with my chicken scratch, I just labeled a lot of this stuff so that you can figure out what the heck it is that you need to put in. So I pretty much called the stuff out. I called out desk sizes, and I have this pretty much, I think, labeled sufficiently so that you can figure out what to draw. And we'll do a fair amount of this. I'm not going to do all of it, obviously, but I'll do a few of these in class tonight. And then I have a reception desk sketch here. Here's that closet in the behind it. And it is just an L-shaped reception desk with a curved front edge on it. And I just have some dimensions on it. There's a transaction top in the front that's 12 inches, and it is just higher. This is the work surface that the person behind the reception desk, the person would be sitting back here, and they would have their computer or laptop or phone or whatever it is that they're working on here. And then up higher this is, usually 42 inches at a higher level. This would be the transaction top. So someone comes in and they can sign in or pass the person, important papers or whatever it is that they need to do. Okay, so let's dive in. So here is our plan where we left it. After class, I went and I flushed the rest of this out, the remaining walls that I didn't do during class. I plopped in some dimensions, and then I have my building shell here, which just contains the existing conditions of the space. And then I have my partition plan, which contains the new partitions and doors and then important dimensions that the contractor needs to build the space up. Okay. So and I'm calling this partition plan. I'm just giving it a simple name. I just called it partition plan. For this project, I'm just going to kind of keep these file names shorter, just because, well, you'll see as we create the XREFS, the chain of file naming gets really, really long. So I'm just kind of keeping these short. All right, so let me start a new document, a new AutoCAD document. I'm using our template. And this is a brand new sheet. And I'm going to, right away, I'm going to save it. And I'm going to call this furniture. Plan. Furniture plan. I had to think about that. Okay, so we are now furniture designers, laying out furniture. And the interior designer or the architect or whoever it is that we're working with has emailed me or emailed us their partition plan, this plan. And we want to bring that plan into our drawing. We want to XREF it or externally reference it into our drawing. So there's two ways to do that, to bring it in. Just like everything in AutoCAD, there's two ways to do pretty much anything. There is a keyboard command, and this is the one that I use the most, and it is called attach, ATTACH. When you hit enter, it is a dialog box comes up and asks for a reference file. So let me just show you the other way. The other way to do it is to go over to see, this is the way why I don't do it, because I often forget which one of these it is. It's under the insert ribbon here. And then there is a palette here called reference. And then there is a button right here called attach. So either way will get you there. I'm just going to type it again. Either way will get you here. And what we're going to do is bring in our partition plan. So I'm just going to select it. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, let me do some file management or some layer management here. So when I bring this in, I want to bring it in on its own layer. So looks like I might have purged some layers here that I didn't need unintentionally, but I guess that's okay. So let me create a new layer here. And I'm going to call this layer XREF, XREF dash, and then I'm going to give it the name of what the XREF is going to be. So I'm going to call this floor plan or partition plan, I guess. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because often you will have more than one XREF brought into your drawing. You might have a partition plan, and you might have, like I said, an HVAC plan, and goodness knows what else. So I have right now an XREF partition plan, and I'm going to make it my current layer right now. And now I will go to my attach command. So attach, ATTACH. We're going to attach our partition plan to our furniture plan drawing. So I'm going to look for my partition plan. I'm going to hit open. And I get, yes.
So I'm having an issue. I go where the files are, but for some reason it's saying it's empty. But then when I go on my regular files, they're there.
Are you opening a DWG file?
Yeah. Like none of them are appearing for some reason when I go to files after doing attach.
Miriam, down here, does it say DWG?
Let me see. Yes, but it's still not showing up.
Are you in the right folder?
Yes. Oh, now they showed up. Okay. Never mind. Thank you.
What was the problem? Wrong folder?
It was on DWG, but I had to put it on drawing, not just DWG.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Glad you got it.
Thank you.
Okay. So I am selecting my partition plan, and I'm going to hit open, and I get an attach external reference. And so first thing I want to do is look at the reference type. And there's two types. There's an attachment and there is an overlay. And we're going to be talking about both kinds, but for now, I'm going to choose attachment. What an attachment does is it attaches my XREF to my furniture plan. And if that drawing that I'm attaching, that is my partition plan, if my partition plan has XREFs already attached to it, I don't want to overwhelm you here, but if my partition plan already has XREFs attached to it, it will attach all of them. If I choose overlay, only the partition plan and any XREFs that are attached to the partition plan will not attach. And this will become clearer as we move on. But for now, I'm going to choose attachment. Yeah. All right. Scale. We don't want to change the scale of it. We want it to be full size. So I am not going to play with the scale. I just want to make sure that my X, Y, and Z are all set to 1. Insertion point, we're going to insert it at 0, 0, 0. So I'm not going to specify an insertion point. This is also very important because as we are overlaying our XREFs, we always want that overlay point to be the insertion point to be the same. Otherwise, our XREFs won't align with each other. So I always use 0, 0, 0 as my, easy to remember, easy to rely on insertion point. All right, I'm not going to rotate this. That will be fine. So path type. So there's three options: no path, relative path, and full path. Full path looks for the exact path in your drawing to where to locate the XREF file. No path doesn't look for it at all, and relative path allows AutoCAD to do the work to try to find it. Now, in our folder, I created a Project 10 folder where I'm storing all of these files, my partition plan, my furniture plan, next week, my lighting plan. They will all be stored in the same folder. So, so it will be easy for AutoCAD to find that those files. So I'm just going to leave it at relative path. All right. So I'm just going to hit OK. And boom, there is our XREF plan. And I'm getting a message down here that says unreconciled new layers. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later on. But what AutoCAD is telling me is that when it brought this drawing into my furniture plan drawing, it brought in all of the layers that were associated with this file, and those layers are now embedded within my furniture plan. So this is just telling me that there are new layers in your drawing. And for now I'm just going to close this. We'll look at it later, but right now I don't want to go too crazy all at once. All right, so here is my drawing. It looks just like my partition plan drawing, or almost like it, because if you look, the difference is that on my furniture plan here, the drawing is a little bit grayed out, isn't it? And if I go over to Insert and then to this reference palette, and I click down here, I have this slider here that is called XREF fading, and mine is set to 40%. And I don't know if yours is going to be set to 40, but 40 is just what I like. It just, I don't know. It's just something that I'm used to using. So, but you can change this. If I bring this all the way up to 100% or 90%, you can barely see it. It's there, but you can barely see it. And if you bring it all the way to 0, there's 0 fading. So it is the full image. But I like to see it a little bit dimmed so that I can focus on the work that I'm going to be doing, particularly or specifically the furniture for this project. So I do like to set it to, between 40 and 50, I think. I think I can type in here. Yeah, I can. So I'm setting mine to 40%. And when I click on my reference, the single line that I clicked on causes the entire XREF to be highlighted, very much like a block would be. I can't make any changes to, well, I can make changes to this XREF, but really this XREF is pretty much locked in place. It is just there for me to use as a reference. So when I'm putting in my furniture, I can put my furniture in, wherever I want and know that it's going to line up with this floor plan. So if I were to, let me go to my partition plan here. I've got like everything drawn here, but let's just say, here, let me just, I don't know. Let me add, I'm going to add another door to this room. I don't know why, but I just want to do it just to show you all. So I'm just going to copy. You don't have to do this, but I just wanted to show you here. I'm going to take this door and I'm going to copy it to this corner here. And I'll change the swing of it. Oop. And let me just trim this out here. So I got like an extra line here. Okay. So whatever reason, I changed this to 2. And now I'm going to save my drawing. So now my partition plan is saved. So let me switch back to my furniture plan. And oop, I have a message. And it says an XREF was modified. And it is asking me if I would like to reload the partition plan by my computer. That's the name of my computer here. So if you were in an office, it would say who it was that made the change to it. And generally speaking, what I will do is I will just click on this and it will reflect the change. But there is another option here that is called compare the changes. And I generally don't do this, but I want to show you in this instance what happens. So I'm just going to check compare the changes. And then I will reload my partition plan. So I'm just going to click on it. And you can see right over here, it's actually drawn like a little revision bubble here, a tiny little revision bubble around this area. So it's showing me the new door, and I made changes to these lines here because I trimmed them out. And in fact, it's showing in red here what I trimmed, what's been deleted from my drawing. So it's giving me a quick view of what changes I made to the drawing. And this is great especially when you have a really big drawing and you don't know exactly what the person is that made changes to it are. But so I'm just looking at it and that's fine. And I am going to just close this now. And there's my change. So now that office or whatever room this is, it now has two doors. All right, and it is telling me I have unreconciled new layers. So, okay, so now let's look at this. So I'm going to click on View Unreconciled New Layers. And what you could do is, if you didn't do that, what you can do is just open up your layer properties. And you'll probably get all over here. And I did hone down my layer list here just for this, just so that I didn't have quite so many layers. I know that you probably have more layers than this, but in any case, these are the layers that are in my drawing. And then I have a whole bunch of these grayed out layers. And these are some more layers that are in my drawing, but these are in the middle because it's in alphabetical order. P comes before V and X. And these layers are named a little differently. So they're first called partition plan, which is the name of the file that I XREF'd in. And then there is a vertical bar, and then there is the name of the specific layer. So this is telling me that this layer, or all of these layers, are on my partition plan, and they are brought into my drawing. Now, I cannot make any changes to these layers, but they're still here in my drawing. So why? Why would I need to do that? Well, I might want to change the color of it or the line weight of those things that on those layers, or the line type of those. And I'll do that in a minute. But in any case, there is also this tree here, this file tree here. And if I go back to my partition plan, I'm not exactly sure what I did that didn't why these layers are showing here and not there. But in any case, so here, we have the tree here, but we've never actually used it. We've never had the occasion to use this thing. All we have here is all used layers. But over here, we've got we've got more stuff here. So,
Paul,
yes, May.
um, could you show us if it's possible to change the XREF attachment because I accidentally attached an older version and it wasn't the most recent one.
Okay. Yes, I can do that. So,
Thank you.
type XREF, XREF, and you will get this external reference box thing here. And here is my partition plan. Well, the furniture plan, this is the drawing that we're actually working in, and it says open. And then my partition plan says loaded. This is the drawing that I have loaded into my furniture plan. So to get rid of it, right click and then click detach, and it will be gone. Got it, May?
Okay, and then I just do it again, but with the right file.
Yeah. So I'm going to do it again because I detached it. So attach, find the partition plan, click open, and then make sure that you are using an attachment. Make sure that you are not changing the scale and the insertion point. Make sure you have relative path selected, and then hit OK. And then I'm going to go over to my unreconciled new layers here. And I have right here unreconciled new layers selected right here. And all this is doing, all AutoCAD is doing is telling me, hey, Paul, there are some new layers in your drawing, and I thought you might want to know about them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select them all. I'm just going to select the first one and then hold Shift and select the last one so that they're all selected. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to say reconcile layer, meaning, yes, AutoCAD, I know that, and I'm reconciling them now. And now unreconciled layers will disappear from my tree here. So I have all selected, and that is showing me all of the layers in my drawing. I can choose all non-XREF layers, and these are just the layers, the actual layers in this new drawing. And then I can select all used layers. And these are layers that have things on them in my drawing. And over here, there is a tree, XREF tree here, and this is partition plan. So this shows me all of the layers on the partition plan. Later on, when we have more than one XREF, they will line up down here. And if I want to see only the layers on my partition plan or on my furniture plan or any other plan, I can just select any one of those and I will see only those layers. So a lot of times a engineer might change like where's my walls? Let me find my walls there. My wall new, and they may want to change the color of it to a gray or something like that, or I'm just going to change it to a red so that it plots really, really lightly on the drawing. You can see all of my partitions now have changed to red. So this allows, like, especially for like electricians or people who are doing your HVAC work, you see I don't know if you've seen HVAC architectural drawings or engineering drawings where, you can see all of the ductwork running through the walls and above the ceiling. And it's nice to see all of the partitions and all of the architecture of the space in a much lighter line. So this allows us to do that. All right, I'm going to undo that. I'm just going to hit Control Z and change my walls back to their original color. Okay, so I think we are ready to go. So let me open up my layer palette. I'm just going to type I for insert. open up my layers. And there is in your CAD blocks, under furniture, there is office furniture right here. And if you hit open, you will get a whole bunch of office type furniture here. We've got lateral files, we have credenzas. We don't have our desks for some reason. So we're going to have to draw some desks, I think. We have workstation type desks here. We've got single workstations. We've got 8-packs here or 6-packs, but no desks. So that's fine. When we get to it, we'll put in some desks. And actually, you know what? I think what I'm going to do, let me open up or let me get back to my furniture plan. So I'm gonna start here with this credenza here, and then this desk, and then maybe I'll work over to here, and then I'll start in on the systems furniture. So I'm going to put this over on my other screen so I can see it and refer back to it. And bear with me here for a second. Okay. And then for now, I'm just going to close this. All right, so I'm going to focus in this area, and I am going to put in a millwork credenza. This is going to be a custom piece of millwork. So let's hope that I've got my millwork layer here. And I'm seeing here actually, I'm only seeing my XREF layers here. So why is that? Let me go over to my layer properties. Oh, I've got unreconciled layers. So let me go back here and reconcile these layers. And I'm going to go to my non-XREF layers. And unfortunately, I don't have a millwork layer. I accidentally deleted it. So you know what I think I did? I think I'm using the wrong template. That's what I actually did. So I'm going to create a millwork layer, and I'm going to make it yellow. That's usually what I do. Well, I don't know. That's what I'm going to make it. All right, and I'm going to make that current. And let me check on my settings here. I've got my O snaps, and I'm going to probably be using O tracking, so I have nearest turned off. I've got my O tracking, object snap tracking turned on, and I am going to go here, and I'm set to 207. I'll leave it at 207. All right, so I have turned off my snaps. Okay. So I've got a line here. This is going to be the front of my credenza, and it's extending out 4 feet. So I'm just going to draw a line 4 feet. And then I have another 4-foot line coming up this way. So again, with my line tool, and I am going to go onto my polar tracking, and I'm going to find that angle, that 117-degree angle, and I'm going to go up 4 feet. And then I'm just going to connect the dots. I'm just going to connect to that original that first line. And there is my nice corner credenza. And I'm going to put in a desk. So I don't believe I know that there is no desk in here right now. So I'm going to put in a big desk, a 36 by 75 desk. So let me just go over to my furniture layer. I'm just going to go to iFurn here. One of your furniture layers, doesn't matter which, I think. And I'm just going to do a rectangle. And I'm going to draw that rectangle 75 by 36. And now I want to move it or rotate it so that it aligns with this. So how the heck can I do that? Well, it's actually pretty easy. If I move, I'm going to move the desk for now right there, right to the corner of this line here. And what I want to do is I want to rotate this so that it aligns with this line here. So let me just go to my rotate tool, select the object I want to rotate, which is the desk, and then a base point. So I'm going to pick this corner right here. And now it's ready to rotate, right? And what I can actually do is I can come here and just snap to it. I mean, it's in the wrong location, right? But it has rotated it right to parallel to this line here. So I'm just going to click on that. And now my desk is rotated so that it lines up with this credenza here. So I'm just going to move it out. I'm just kind of using the eyeball method here. And I'm just going to find a good place for my desk right there. Voila. All right, now let me go to insert and find, I'm going to just use this chair task 3. This is the nice executive chair, I think, here. And I'm going to choose rotation. I'm going to put rotation on as well. And I'm going to bring in this chair right at the midpoint. And then once again, I'm just going to align it right with the end point of my desk, and it rotates it right flush nicely with my desk. Okay, so now I want a guest chair, and I think I'm using this one here. And you could do the same thing, but I think what I'm going to do here, it looks like on the drawing, these chairs are a little bit on an angle like this, a little more informal. So, all right, so this one's coming up like this, and I want the other one to do the same thing, but like this, but I want them to be the same, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror, as you might have guessed. And I'll just choose the midpoint of the desk and go perpendicular, erase source objects. No, thank you. And I've got my two guest chairs. Blah, 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 blah. There's some soft seating over here. But let's look at this. Let's look at this desk here. So this desk will be a smaller desk. It's not going to be this 36 desk. I'm going to do a smaller desk over here, and that's going to be, excuse me, that's going to be a 30 by 60 desk. That is generally the smaller, sort of an intermediate desk. So again, I will just do a rectangle and 60 inches wide by 30 inches high. And then again, I'm just going to move it to some object that has the angle that I want this to be on. So I'll just move it here, just to the midpoint. I could have moved it to the corner here, but I'm just going to choose right here. And then rotate. I'm going to choose for my base point, this end point or intersection right here. And then just come along here, and it will align it right with that wall. Now I can move it out to the middle of the room someplace, and I do have a 20 by 60 credenza, and I'm going to put that in here as well. The only thing about the credenza is that you don't want your credenza to touch the wall. You want it to be just an inch or two off. And that helps whoever is reading your drawing to distinguish between furniture and millwork or systems furniture, because systems furniture often, or not often, but sometimes gets attached to the wall. All right, we're going to give this person an executive desk or chair. I generally like to move it out a little bit. And they get a couple guest chairs, task chairs. And I think this time what I'll do is I'll line it and then kind of move it there. And then again, I like to mirror it so that everything is exactly symmetrical. Oops, that's not symmetrical. Let me try that again. Try it a third time. There we go. And what else? Obviously, once you have this desk set, you can, copy it to this office and et cetera, et cetera. I've got a big old conference table in here, and I also have a big, huge credenza back here that, probably lay out lunches or something like that. So I'm just going to draw that straight across. And this does not belong on the furniture layer. This belongs on millwork. Okay, so we've got an 8-foot diameter table. So I'm just going to draw a circle here, 8 feet diameter. And I'm just going to give them, it looks like just this general chair, I think, is going to be good for them. So I'll just put that. I'm not going to rotate it, but I will move it straight up. This time, let me put my ortho on so I go straight up. And then I'll array it. I'll use a polar array. Hopefully by now we know how to use an array. And it looks like, I don't know, I think that looks like 12 chairs.
Paul, I had a question. When you wanted to remove only one single column, how did we delete it again?
When I wanted to what?
To remove a single column? Because I have a column inside the room.
Oh,
but I
what you'll
forgot
need
it
to do
erase.
is what you'll need to do is you'll need to explode the array. So just type X for explode, select the column, and then hit enter, and then you'll be able to delete it.
But I'll have to delete it from the original plan, right?
That's right. You'll have to go back
Okay.
to the partition plan and delete it. Yes. So for
All right,
now,
thank
just leave it and come back
Okay.
to it later.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What else? Over here, I have some training tables. So let's look at these. The training tables, this is a training room over here. And I've got, how big are these? 2 by 5. So again, I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm going to make it 5 feet by 2 feet. And I'll rotate this. Let's see if I can rotate this without aligning it with anything. I have my ortho turned on, so I don't want to do that, but I will turn my polar tracking on, and then, yeah, look at that. Actually, I can align it right up with that angle. And I need a couple chairs. And I think I'll just use this general chair here. Once again, I do like to mirror these so that everything is the same. And then these tables are in groups of 3. They're ganged together. So just like in the CAD lab, we've got, actually, I think they're ganged together in groups of 3 in the CAD lab as well. So this is kind of like a similar type of type of deal. And I'm going to move this to here. This is a good starting point. I'm just looking at the drawing and it's more or less right here. Again, notice I am not touching the column and I'm certainly not over the column. I'm just near the column, just an inch away. Okay, so these are the spacing of these are 5 feet. So I'm gonna copy all of these and I'm gonna go again. Let me put on my polar tracking here along this angle. What did I say? 5 feet. So I'm gonna go 5 feet up in this direction, and then I'll go, while I'm at it, I'll go 5 feet down in this direction. Make sure that you got that green line so that you know you're going in the right direction. And then, oh, I could have done 5 and then 10 feet, but I didn't. Well, you know what? That's okay. So what I will do these is copy these. And I'll just use this as a base point. Copy that to there. There's 100 ways to skin a cat in AutoCAD. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So there's my training tables. And now I have this this really bizarre long table here. I'm going to make it 24 inches. And, this credenza is just like, it's just so super weird. But all right, I'm just going to do it the way it was drawn. So I'm coming up and I'm following that green dotted line, and the credenza is going to this corner over here. So I am gonna just hover over this corner and then come back, find that green line, and hopefully this will cooperate with me. And if it doesn't, that's okay. I've got another way to skin this cat. All right, so it didn't cooperate with me, so that's okay. I'm just going to go right from this corner, perpendicular, or right like that. I'll just fillet this. And then whoever the designer was, there's like, I guess, a little piece of counter back here. So if it were me, if I were the designer of this plant, what I would do is I would put walls around this column. So this was nice and square and I didn't have this wonkiness. It's just similar to what I did in the, in this director's office here. I would do the same thing over
I
here.
believe we do have walls around this one. Because the plan that we copied, we do have a wall around it.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I must be looking at an older plan then. Okay, then good. Okay. Then you know what? I pulled up an older plan, so it doesn't have that. So, okay, good. So then all you need to do is butt up to that wall. I was using my brain finally, but I didn't. Somehow I pulled up an older version of the handout. So I'm going to change this to my millwork layer. All right, and then I have that little let me go back to my notes here. I've got that media wall, and that's just coming out 6 inches. So I'm just going to come up. And actually, I didn't want to draw that, so I'm just going to erase that. And I will match properties, put this up there. Okay, what else? Break room. What I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to draw millwork. So on the plan that you all have, does the millwork go up on the side here? Anybody? It does?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to draw millwork here because I just think that there's too much. So I need a space for a fridge here. So I'm just gonna start here and I'm gonna O-track over 30 inches. Well, I'll O-track over 36, generally 30 to 36, but I'll be generous. I'll make it 36. And then now I'm gonna turn ortho on, go up, straight up 2 feet, and then go across. And that is where I'm going to limit my my millwork. If you want to bring your millwork all the way up here, like it's shown on the drawing, you're free to do that. But if you would like to take some liberties and just have the millwork here along this wall, that would be fine too. And then you can, maybe add some tables here if you want, like maybe just two-person tables here. I don't know. It's up to you. If you want to take some liberties with this room, you're more than welcome to. All right. Should I draw the furniture here? You know what? I want to move on to the systems furniture actually, because this is the more interesting stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start with this benching group, which is a 6-pack. So let me see. That is this workstation benching group. It's a 6-pack, and it is going to go right around here. So I'm going to bring it in, and let me put on my polar tracking, and I'm going to set it to the right angle. Okay, obviously it's in the wrong spot. So I'm going to move this more or less like this. Okay, so let's talk about putting in workstations. When you're putting a workstation into a space, the main thing that you're thinking about you're thinking about a lot of things. First, you're thinking about clearance around it so that people can walk by and not be bumping on this poor guy's back of his chair as you're circulating around the space. But you also need to think about power and how we're going to bring power, electric, to this workstation 6-pack. So generally speaking, the workstations are powered along the spine, and these panels right here in the middle, that is the spine of the 6-pack. And generally speaking, that is what is going to be powered. And the power needs to come from somewhere. So what I'm doing is I'm locating this so that it is close to either a column or a wall or some entity that is in my space. And it's not always possible to do that, but when you can, try to locate your furniture close to something. So here's what happens. The power comes down from the ceiling through this column. This column has some furring around it. The actual column is probably a little smaller, and then there's some drywall furring around it. Or if it's, if the space is really industrial, then the conduit will come straight down. And it'll come down to the ground to a junction box, and then there will be a flexible cable that will whip into the spine of the workstation. And that flexible cable is actually, it's called a whip, WHIP. And it comes down, the power runs through it, and also phone and data jacks come through it, not jacks, but phone and data lines come down through it as well. And so it comes down through the column and then whips into the spine of our workstation. So in general, when you are locating workstations in your career, try to find places where the workstation can be powered easily. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes the workstation just is in the middle of a space and there's nowhere to bring power to it. So you have two choices when that happens. One, you can use a power pole. And a power pole it's just this square pole that sits like in one corner, like over here or over here, and it extends up all the way to the ceiling. And it actually extends through the ceiling tiles. And then the power comes from above the ceiling through that power pole and then down into the spine of the workstations. And well, there's no two ways about it. They're ugly. I hate them. And they just look really, really, especially if you have a whole bunch of them, it looks like, like a forest of trees. They're really wonky and I hate them. So I really try to avoid them whenever I can. So if you don't want the power pole, you do have another choice, and that is to literally core a hole, drill a hole through the floor, all the way through the floor of the building. And then you have to go down to the floor below, to whatever tenant is on the floor below, pop the ceiling tiles, and then run the power up through that hole in the floor. And that's called a floor core or a core, CORE. If you look at in the studio, the one that has the workstations in it, if you go the next time you're on campus and you're in there, I think it's right at the very first workstation, right when you come in. Just stick your head underneath the work surface of the workstation, and you'll see the floor core. I mean, it's capped, so you can't see down into the floor below, and there's fireproofing that's around it, but what you will do is see the whip, and it's like right here in the corner, and you'll see that whip and it'll go right into the workstation panel. It's actually pretty interesting, and you should make a point to look at it so that you know how these actually get powered. Okay, blah 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 blah. Sorry, I got off on that tangent. So let me copy this one to here. Once again, I'm going to bring this close to that point there. And over here, I have a 4-pack, I think. And I'm going to rotate this one. So now this one here, this one's not attached. This one isn't attached to any column, right? So this is one where we would either have to have a power pole either here or here or here, and bring power down from the ceiling if we were on a budget. But if we had more money and the landlord was okay with it, then we would core a hole in the floor and bring power up from the floor. All right. What else is on here that so I've got I've got the touchdown seating. So let's look at that. And that is more or less over here. So I've got that touchdown seating, and I'm going to rotate that like that. And this is going to move this over here. And then I have another one facing the other direction. So what I don't want to do here, so these have got panels around them, right? This is a kind of like privacy workstation panels running around this like this. And what I don't want to do is have, back-to-back panels like this. That's a waste of money. I've got two panels right next to each other. No, that's not something you want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap these actually. And let's see if I can do this. I'm going to have to find a point here and find a point here, and hopefully they'll overlap exactly. Yeah. So now this is graphically, I know it's drawn as like two sets here, but graphically there will be one set of panels that runs here, and then these banquette seats will butt up to the panel over here, and these banquette seats will butt up to the panel here. So we're also going to power this. We'll bring in a whip and then bring power in here so that you can power your laptops from underneath the seat. We'll have, outlets underneath there. Okay, so then I've got my reception desk here, and then behind it is this closet, and behind that are those enclosed away spaces. And those are somewhere in here as well. Here they are. So let me bring one of them in here. And I've got another one that I'm bringing in like that. So I want to align these though. Um, so so this is the door, obviously, and then this here, this is the panel, and then out here, these are the sliding doors, I guess, that allow, or the track for the sliding doors that allow you to get into like this one and this one. This one you get in through this door. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up the corners, the structural corners of them, and then I will move this back carefully to this column here. And I'll move this one carefully here. So this bank of these little away spaces will be powered from a whip coming in here, and this one will be from this column, a whip coming in over here. And you want to make sure that you orient them in such a way so that the doors are accessible, right? You don't want like this one over here so that the door is in front of the column, because then you can't get in, right? So just make sure when you're doing it, you're paying attention to that. I've got, what is this? These are my Brody chairs. So I've got one of them like this, I think, more or less. And I'm just going to copy this one, put on my ortho. And then there's two more that are facing it. So what I'll do is I'll mirror this right on the middle of this mullion right here. And then I have another pack of them over here. So I'll use as a base point this midpoint, and then use it here. So like if it were me, I would probably put a plant or maybe a planter here or something between it. I don't know, this just seems like dead space to me. All right, what else? Oh, I know I'm jumping all over the place here. We've got that video conferencing thing over here. So let me see if I can find that. Oh, here it is. So let me bring that. I've got ortho on, so I want to put back polar tracking here. So I'm on that right angle, and then I'm going to move this to this wall like that. And then I have sort of like these sofas, and I think, that doesn't look like the sofa. Let's see if, doesn't look like we have those. Is this it? No, this is not really the sofa. That's just a corner piece. Oh, let me me write down. Hold on, bear with me. I just want to write this down for a moment. Because we're going to update over the winter break. We're going to update these, and I want to make sure that that gets added. So, all right. Well, we'll just deal without a sofa here, I guess. Oh, that's annoying. All right, fine. No sofa. All right. And then I've got some soft seating over here, kind of like a reception area here where people can wait. And I don't know if I do have. That's a small sofa. All right, let's see if I can find this elsewhere. Let's look in seating. All right, here's a sofa. I don't know, I'm just gonna choose one of these. I'll just choose this one. I don't know. And I'm just gonna put this in here like that. And we've got some area rugs. So let me locate these on an area rug. So draw a rectangle here. And that rectangle is 10 feet wide by 14 feet. And then I'm going to rotate it. And then I've got a coffee table that's 48 by 24. I'm going to rotate this as well. And let's see if I can't locate this right in the middle of this. So I don't know if I've talked about diagonals before, but they are really, really nice to center something in a space. So what I did was I drew a diagonal on my area rug here. And the midpoint of the diagonal is the midpoint of this entire area rug. And then I drew a diagonal at my little coffee table here. And the midpoint of the diagonal is the midpoint of the coffee table. And the reason I did that was so that I could move my coffee table to the exact center of the area rug. So I'm going to move this from the midpoint of that diagonal that I drew to the midpoint of that diagonal on the area rug. You never thought that you would ever use your high school geometry, did you? But here we are using it. All right, so now I'll take this sofa and I'm going to line it up so that it's centered on the coffee table, and then move it up some comfortable distance. And then I need the same thing over here, but I am going to just mirror this. That is the easiest way to do this. And voila. So now let's move this whole setting to more or less looks like here. You don't want the area rug to intersect with the column, obviously, so I'm just bringing it close to it. And then, because we're expecting lots of guests to come, I'm going to do another seating arrangement right here. So yada yada yada. I think you get the point. Let's do the reception desk together. And I'm going to change to my millwork layer before I forget. And let me go over to my reception desk sketch. So my reception desk is, I've got this, the closet here is right here. This is our closet. And the reception desk, this side of the reception desk is going to align with this side of the closet here. The column is in here. And so I'm going to O-track over 3 feet, and then I'm going to draw a line 5 feet long by 12.5 feet. I'm going to come back 3 feet, come over 3 feet, and then fillet these lines, and then I'll draw a radius. I'll do a fillet with a 36-inch radius. So that's how I'm going to draw this puppy. So let's give it a shot here. So line tool, and I will start here, and let me put my O-tracking on, and let's hope that I can O-track. I don't know why I have such problems with it. All right, I'm going to draw a line. Do it this way. 3 feet. And that is just to give me the starting point here. So I'm going to come out 5 feet. I'm just getting these right from the handout. You should just look at the handout as you're doing it. I'm going to come back 3 feet. And then I'm going to come back some distance here. I'm not exactly sure where. And then I don't need this little 3-foot line anymore. That was just to get me the starting point. Then I'm going to come over 3 feet in this direction. And I'm going to come over this way. And then I'll do a fillet. Fillet those two.
Paul, where can I find the reception desk notes?
They should, I hope that they are on Blackboard. Has anyone found them?
Oh, I see. It's in a different folder. Okay.
Okay.
I have
All
also
right.
a question, Paul. So if there was something wrong in the old, like in the partition plan, and you want to edit it, is it gonna, so when you change it on the original plan, it doesn't change on this one. So how you would be able to change it?
Okay. All right. So I already did this once, but that's a good question. So let's get rid of this door. So I'm going to erase the door. I'm going to fillet my corner here. And now I'm going to save my drawing, obviously. Go to my furniture plan, and it says an XREF was modified. Reload, and then I'll just hit close here. What it's doing is it's showing it where it made the change, and now it's changed. Okay, back to what
Okay,
we were
thank
doing.
you. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
So what I need to do is radius this corner here, and I'm just going to use fillet and then radius, and I'm going to just do a 3-foot radius or 36 inches. And then I'll just offset 12 inches. This is my transaction top. And I want to give that person a place to sit. So let me go back to my office furniture here. You know, I wonder if that curved seat is has been sneakily moved somewhere else. Let's go to seating. Well, I've got this jelly bean chair. Hey, let's put that in. Let's have some fun. It's on my millwork layer, so let me put it on my furniture layer. So if you want to take some liberties with the seating, I'm okay with that. So the idea here is, as you're doing your video conferencing over here, like additional people could join in on this conference here. So yeah, that's cool. I like that. All righty. So blah 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 blah. I think you all get the hang of what to do. Let me save my furniture plan. Okay, my furniture plan saved, and we are now sending this off to our interior designer. And we did the furniture for you, and the interior designer goes, great, let me bring it into my partition plan. So I am now back on my original partition plan drawing. And I am going to XREF in the furniture plan. So the first thing I want to do is create a layer for it. So I'm going to go to my layer properties, and I will create a new layer, and I will call this XREF dash furniture. And I'll make this my current layer. Okay. So now we're going to bring in the furniture. So I'm going to use the attach command, ATTACH. I'm going to look for my furniture plan. Here it is. Click open. And now, so let's think about this. The furniture plan, if you remember, has the partition plan XREF'd into it. And we are back on the partition plan, and we are referencing in our furniture plan. But the furniture plan that we're referencing in already has our partition plan on it. So we don't want two copies of the partition plan. We only want to see the furniture. So we're going to choose overlay instead of attachment. Overlay is only going to bring in, let me cancel this. Overlay is, yeah, you know what I did when I started this drawing? I used the wrong template. So sorry about that, everybody. That's why my layers were wonky. But let me just go and let me just freeze my partition plan. And you can see that literally the only thing that we've drawn on the sheet is this, and everything else has been XREF'd in. So I'm going to undo that, but I just wanted to show you. So this stuff is what we want to bring in to our partition plan, not another copy of the partition plan. So attach furniture plan, overlay. Make sure that the scale is set to 1, the insertion point is set to 0. I hope I have this all lined up. And path type is relative, and I'm just going to hit OK. And I'm going to get an alert that says that a circular reference has been detected. So a circular reference is just the thing that I was just talking about. The furniture plan has the partition plan in it. When we made the furniture plan, we referenced into it the furniture plan. And now we're referencing the furniture plan into the partition plan, which already has the partition plan referenced into it. So it's a circular reference. And this is just a warning. It's just telling me that this is happening. So yes, please continue. And there is our furniture. Now I have unreconciled new layers, so let's reconcile them. I'm going to click View Unreconciled New Layers. And AutoCAD has thoughtfully just selected unreconciled new layers. I'm going to select them all. And this time all I did was hit Control A to select them all. And then I'm going to right click and reconcile layer. And that should have reconciled them all. They're highlighted still, so I could just, highlight another one. So here are all of my furniture plan layers. And it says furniture plan, the vertical line, and then each of the layers. Okay, so this looks good. So as the designer, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh yeah, I like the jelly bean chairs that the furniture, designer put in. So so I'm happy. So now the last thing that we need to do tonight is we got to create a new layer, a new sheet. So we have our building shell, we have our partition plan, and now we need, you guessed it, a furniture plan. So I'm going to go to move or copy. I'm just right clicking on my partition plan. I'm selecting move or copy. And I'm going to create a copy and move it to the end of my layers or my stack of layouts. And now I have a partition plan 2. And the first thing I want to do is rename it. And I'm going to call this furniture plan. And while I'm here, I'm going to rename this as well. And I will call this sheet 3. Let me do a zoom extents, Z, enter, E, enter. And that fills my screen with my drawing. And now we need to do some layer management. Okay, so furniture plan. What are we seeing? What do we want to see? What don't we want to see? Anyone want to volunteer?
We don't
So I'll
want to
start.
see we don't want to see the dimensions.
Right. Why don't we want to see the dimensions?
Because this is a furniture plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. The furniture people, when they're laying the furniture in, they do not give a flying fig about what these dimensions are. Only the contractor who's building the walls cares about them. So absolutely right, both of you. So I'm just going to freeze those dimensions because they don't belong on this plan. Okay. Now let's look at our partition plan. Okay, so the partition plan, I'm actually not seeing my furniture. Let's see. So that's interesting. So that's it for I'm actually surprised that I'm not seeing it. But is anyone seeing your furniture on your partition plan? Who's following along?
Yes, I see.
Okay, so if you are seeing it, you need to go into, well, actually, yeah, you want to go into white model space and then open up your layer, or actually do it this way. Come down here and you want to freeze or thaw in the current viewport. So I'm going to freeze even though for whatever reason I don't see mine, I'm freezing my XREF furniture layer, the whole layer, because all of my furniture is on, everything is on that XREF furniture layer. So I'm just freezing that in the current viewport. Wonder why I'm not seeing mine. Let me just make sure that it's on my XREF furniture. Okay, fine. All right. Let me do a zoom
It
extends.
didn't go away even after clicking freeze.
So May, is your XREF on the XREF layer? On the XREF furniture layer?
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we put it on an XREF furniture layer. Yes? That did it is it working for you, May?
Yeah, it worked.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. All right. Okay. So, all right, partition plan looks good. Building shell on mine actually looks good. I swear to you, I don't know why I'm not seeing my furniture here, but I'm not complaining. So if you are seeing your furniture, go into white model space, go to your drop downs here, and freeze your XREF furniture in the current viewport. I'm just going to freeze it, even though mine is not showing up. I'll do a zoom extents, Z, enter, E, enter. And let me just review. Building shell looks good. Partition plan looks good. Furniture plan looks good.